everyone, how are you all doing? Come on in, sit on down. Yes, it's Sunday afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and it's time for a Truther Therapy session. That's right, episode 128. I'm actually on time for once. I'm making it for 9 o'clock, bang on the dot. Well, I say that I'm a minute late. You know, it's an improvement. I'll take it. It's better than 20 to half an hour to an hour late, or even a day in most cases. But I've made it. We're here, back on the usual schedule. And I was wondering about what I'm going to do tonight. And I thought, I've not done a call-in show in a very, very long time. And I do occasionally like to just randomly do one, just to open up the lines, get anyone and anybody to come on and share whatever it is they're thinking. It can be hit and miss. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to be said? Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's an absolute terrifying time. Sometimes it's just it gets a bit weird, but I enjoy doing it. And I thought, why not do that again tonight, just for fun? And I do have my own things I kind of want to ramble and rant about and get off my chest. I feel like I do need a little bit of a truth of therapy. I was looking into UK tax today, and it just got me and my wife very, very, very angry looking at how corrupt and disgusting and horrible the UK system is and how grossly taxed we are as a nation, as a peoples. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. Let's just say hello. Let's see what we've got here first. Let's see what's going on. We got some regular faces, some new faces. We've got hang on. I'm in top chat. Don't be a victim of top chat, people. Put it onto live chat to see all the comments. We've got Mark in the house. Good to see you. Says Merry May, and that's right. We're into May now. We're fully into spring. It's a swinging, isn't it? And summer's on the way. We're getting warmer weather here in the UK. As you can tell, I've got the floral shirt on. I'm feeling the colour. I'm feeling the spring. I'm feeling the heat. I have not yet got sunburned, but there'll be a show coming up in the next few months where I am as red as a tomato, and that will be the day I forgot to do something about it or stay in the shade. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it. It's nice. The vitamin D is good. I think everyone's in high spirits, in spite of the fact that the whole country's falling apart. Everyone seems in a relatively good mood, which is nice. I think the sun has definitely helped. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you're here in the UK, but me and the wife have definitely noticed that the sky has been suspiciously clear over the last week. Hardly anything, not a cloud in sight, evening, morning, or afternoon for like a week straight. And I'm wondering if the fuel shortages coming out of that Strait of Hormuz has slowed down the geoengineering agenda a little bit, and they can't even afford to poison us anymore. I don't know, maybe not, maybe I'm talking absolute bullshit there, but I feel like perhaps, let's hope that is the case, and that's what's been going on, eh? But yeah, let's see what's going on. We got Yars Calibri, good to see you. We got Nope, we got Nicole, C. Richard, good to see you. Nice shirt. It's Monday 3 a.m. in Vietnam. Well, that's amazing. Thanks for being here so early in the morning. I appreciate you staying up or waking up to listen to me. Either way, I get to attend my daughter's University of Maine graduation next weekend, says Yars Calibri. Well, congratulations to her. That's fantastic news. Just like heaven, this room is full, and yet there is room for more. Certainly, I'm not sure what you mean, but yes, okay. Tax triggers a very immediate and specific emotion, like within seconds the whole vibe changes. Yes, taxes do that. Literally, I asked a simple question. I guess I'll just get into it. Because I was looking into I'm earning now more than I was when I was a manager at a supermarket at Aldi. And that's not saying much. That was slightly above minimum wage. You know what I mean? And now I'm on a decent amount, But even though I'm earning more, it feels like I'm still earning the exact same amount as when I was a manager at Aldi. It doesn't feel like the needle's moved at all, or I'm any better off in any way, shape, or form. In fact, in many cases, I feel like it's getting worse. But on paper, it shouldn't be. I'm earning more. So what's going on? And obviously, there's loads of factors. I talk about them on this channel, and obviously with just money in general in this country, and taxes, and inflation rates, and the rest of it. And then the numerous things that come up with the cost of living crisis, as we call it in the UK, and the the food prices going up and the taxes on all the VAT on everything going up, sneakily, and then the shrinkflation phenomena where you're getting less for the same amount of money because they're slowly taking a few grams off your chocolate bars here and there, and blah, 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 blah. There's all that kind of stuff. Then I just asked my wife, because she's the one who deals with, like, the taxes, because we're self-employed, and I was saying, like, well, our personal allowance, when's that supposed to change? Because you get this tax-free allowance, okay? So everybody's allowed to earn £12,570, and you don't get taxed on that, okay? That always gets removed from whatever you earned in a year. No, that's untaxable. That's your allowance. And obviously, that's to help people who are on minimum wage, for example, to end up not paying too much tax or being screwed over by taxes, high amounts, And that's fair enough. It seems relatively like a fair system. And I realized, like, wait a minute, hasn't it been like 12,570 for as long as I've been working? You know what I mean? Like, aren't we talking like almost a decade here? Does that supposed to change? Because inflation has definitely changed. Like, the value of money has drastically changed in 6 years alone, especially since COVID. So, like, what's going on there? And she was like, nope, they're not changing it. They haven't changed it. And I'm not sure when it's meant to change, but it should be changing soon, right? And I looked into it, and that's when I got angry. That's when I got very, very, very angry. Because I looked into it, and it's not changing. First of all, it was set in 2021. Let's remember that. And that was only a minor increase from like 11.5 grand 4 years prior to that. Okay. So 2021, it was set at 12,570 tax-free allowance. And it's not going to change until 2031. 10 years it's going to take for them to increase that number to match anywhere close to inflation. So this is basically a silent, sneaky way to make sure ordinary people who aren't thinking about this thing don't realize they're being bent over and absolutely railed by the tax man. They are just, they are being robbed. This is like theft of the highest order. And what it means is, like, now minimum wage now is something like £24,000 a year. It didn't used to be. It used to be about 17,000, not even that long ago. So it's kind of, these people are paying a lot of tax. Minimum wage workers who are earning just enough to barely get by are paying way more tax than they used to be just half a decade ago. And obviously that means higher earners are paying astronomical amounts. And more people now, because wages have gone up and obviously the money's going up, but the value of it's going down. There are plenty of people who kind of like, have gone over the £50,000 line. And which used to be a great thing in the past, you know what I mean? But that puts you into a new tax bracket where you end up paying on top of that 40% tax, not just the minimum, not just the 20% tax. But now, like, almost everybody's earning over 50,000 because it's worthless, because the money's worthless. You know? So that means a lot of people are now suddenly paying a shit ton more tax than usual. So the government is just robbing us blind. And I don't see any benefits to this. Like, where's that money going that's going to any use whatsoever that I can visually see? There are still potholes on the road, and our NHS is still overrun and slow and useless, and all the public services never run on time and are falling apart and just an absolute pile of shit. It's kind of, so, yeah, you're certainly not using this vast amount of tax money to improve public services in any way, shape, or form. And you don't seem to get involved in many wars. So where's this money going? And obviously it's going on to probably the benefit systems. And the less I say about that, probably the better on YouTube. Who knows? But they are robbing us blind. Absolutely robbing us blind. And they are doing it in this sneaky way where you won't realize it. And this is the annoying thing. It was supposed to change this year. They were supposed to increase that tax-free allowance this year, April 2026. But it got pushed to 28. Okay, and then it got pushed just at the end of 2025 to 2031. They added another 3 years onto the already extended deadline. It's just, I don't remember them announcing this. I don't remember them really telling anyone. They just kind of did it. And realistically, that has screwed all of us, like, heavily. We're already heavily taxed on top of that. You know what I mean? Like, for everything, including the air, no doubt, in some places. I think that is even true. You can't drive certain vehicles through certain roads without paying the green air tax or something like this, the green zone tax. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody voted for this, as Rascal Tucson said. No, we didn't vote for this. And you guys in America, you kicked us out over the smallest amount of taxation. And look at you now. I have the mighty have fallen, because I know it's not much better for you guys over there. But yeah, we're screwed. We're like the land of tax. They love to tax us. If there's a tax on the tax, and then when you die, they tax your inheritance on top of that you have for your children. It's just tax after tax after tax. No matter, even when you're dead, they're still gonna tax you, and it doesn't bloody end. It just does not end. And I think it just says a lot to what people are feeling today. I think everybody's absolutely exasperated beyond belief. I mean, I saw. In fact, I'm going to share something with you. I saw this compilation earlier. And I'll just play a little clip of it just to give you the vibe of how like the British people are generally feeling right now. I think it might just be worth sharing. I'll go into my history here. And I haven't watched the full video myself. I actually only caught like a minute of it. And I thought, that's enough. That's enough. I get the point. And I think I'm going to share that minute with you guys now, as to not just try and avoid some copyright issues. But yeah, check this out. So I've got video. Pause that. Pull it back. And I'm going to play this, right? Hang on. So this is the video that I was watching. Just listen to this, okay? Listen to this.
Okay, is done.
Everything's so expensive, and it just feels like no matter how hard you try, you just don't really get anywhere.
I've just paid 96 British pounds for air.
Just cost me 60 fucking £5 to fill my stupid fucking car up.
You can't live in the UK anymore. You can barely survive.
It's a horrible feeling, feeling stuck, feeling like you can't afford to live the life you want to live.
Living life in the UK right now, what kind of life is this? I know a lot of us are thinking about it, but what kind of life is this?
In the UK, which are just going to work to pay bills, to pay for their mortgage, to pay for their kids, and it's a toxic cycle.
Work, pay bills, pay more fucking bills, a bit more bills, get taxed to the high heavens.
People are miserable. They can't afford anything. They can't get healthcare. They can't afford their rent's going up.
Living in the UK right now is so miserable. So everyone who's working hard is getting caned in their taxes, and money is only going to where money already is.
I think it makes me want to give up on life more than living in the fucking UK, bro. It's just such a shit place, bro.
People in the UK are walking around like this, and we can't let our breath go because we're waiting for one thing after another, and everyone's sad and everyone's unable to afford anything.
Can we just stop this? Like now? How do we stop this? Finance people, stop this. Women in STEM, help, stop. Stop it, help us stop this.
We are having our pants pulled down in this country. It's a fucking joke.
It takes a lot for us Brits to come to the conclusion that, hang on a minute, enough is enough.
Okay, there you go. So you get the gist. That's just the opening to the video. Go and find Brit rants and find this video if you want, and if you want to listen to the rest. But you get the idea. Everyone's sick of it and fed up. Like, it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from in the UK. Everyone's pretty much just saying this now. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, excuse my French, It's what we're like in England, especially in the north. We use it as an emphasis for a reason, because it is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's you cannot get ahead. It doesn't. And when you feel like you're about to get ahead, something happens that just takes the stool out from under you. It just rips the rug, and just that's it. You're screwed, and you have to start from scratch. It just keeps happening over and over and over again. The middle classes are eroding away. The hope of owning property is vanishing quickly from all generations. Even the older generations who have the property can't sell the damn thing, and when they die, the banks are going to take it anyway, because they're going to lowball everybody because nobody can afford to buy them off them anyway, because the property prices are through the roof. So even their own children aren't going to be able to buy their house off them. It's just going to get ridiculous. There's going to be, you will own nothing and you will be happy. This is that agenda coming to full fruition, isn't it? This is the Schwab agenda, the UN sustainability goals, the 2030 ones, all this type of stuff. They are really putting the pressure on and using any world event as an excuse to jack the prices up of everything, even though it has nothing to do with that whatsoever. It's manufactured scarcity. It's fear-based control. It's that we need to take things away from people to get them to panic, so then they lose their mind, they get demoralized, and once you demoralize a nation, they're easier to control, and they can offer them solutions they don't really need, and then boom, you got 15-minute cities or something like this. It's they're pushing hard, man, but I think most people like aware like this ain't right. This is wrong. This doesn't make any sense. What they're telling us doesn't make any sense. The reason why this is happening doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I think people are seeing through it a little bit, but the exasperation in the air is real. The depression in the air is palpable. You have to push through it like molasses. You know, it's there. Like you can really feel it. Like it's a gloom over every house, over every street. And, you know, Britain can be a pretty gloomy place as it is when the sun doesn't shine. And this is the last thing we needed. I don't know. I'm sure every country everywhere is feeling this. But it seems like it happened fast. Like this was a quick change that was put up on us. It's like the past month or two. Boom, everything just suddenly got way more expensive very quickly. And I can't help but feel like it's just to, like I said, erode that ladder. There are no middle classes anymore. You just have the elites and then the poor people. Okay, and some might break through because they get very lucky with some crazy money-making scheme. But that easy pattern of, you know, just go to school, get the degree, get a starter job, work your way up, work hard, and then you'll buy a house, get a decent pension, and everything will be all right. You can have some kids. This is gone. That just doesn't exist. That does not work. Now you have to have like 3 jobs just to have a decent enough standard of living where you can't even raise your kids anyway because you're at work all the time. And it's hopeless. It's hopeless. There's another thing I saw, which I'll share with you again. Now, this is moving away from Britain, but I think I saw this clip. Someone did share it in the Telegram group, and I think it'd be worth having a quick listen to, just to kind of emphasize how desperate people are, especially younger generations, and the choices they're making as a result of all this desperation. It's kind of very sad, and they don't even realize they're making the choice either. It just seems to be happening. But I do have a video just here. Let me scroll up, and I know it'll turn up somewhere. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Here it is. Right, so give me a second. I'm just going to share the Telegram screen with you. If you haven't joined Telegram, join it, guys. 3,079 members here on the Understanding Conspiracy Telegram. Someone, I'm sure, will post a link right now, so you can go and join up and get involved in the conversation. Lots of subcategories here to get involved with. Some funny memes, questions for Paul, little season evidence. We've got Bible study, history and mythology. We've got health and medicine, art, music, tech, parenting and homeschooling advice, gardening advice, the clown topic, hagiographies, video commentary suggestions, testimonies, dreams, prayer requests. We've got it all over at the Understanding Conspiracy Telegram. So come and join in. It's a happy family. But look at this. Mark shared this one. And I have seen this clip before, but I'll just share it with you guys.
I'm 30 years old. Not one of my friends has children. 0. No one. No one's having kids. Do you know how hard you need to abuse a mammal to make them not have children? Like for real. Like let's step here back a moment, right?
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, look, GDP goes up. People have have enough food, you know, and whatever. No one's having kids, and this is across the world. This is across both the West, the East, you know, everywhere it's happening. So there's a thing that happens, especially with like even younger than me. Like the kids are like 18 today. There's a huge problem where they don't dance. No one dances. They go to clubs and they don't dance. Why is this? Because you get recorded.
Yeah.
If you're an 18-year-old kid, you go to a club, you get recorded. If you approach a girl and you mess it up, you get recorded. Everything is the panopticon now. So if you had to ask me why, my answer is technology. My answer is social media. My answer is AI. My answer is algorithms. Do you know what dating app algorithms do? Do you know how they optimize? They don't optimize you to meet your love of your life. They optimize you to keep coming back to the app.
Yeah.
And now there's a thing that basically we have sold out all of our dating norms, all of our, our interpersonal norms to tech companies without our consent to optimize their ad algorithm. Right. I think there's a deep thing where we as a society have not dealt with the fact that we have to steward technology responsibly. We have treated technology as a Wild West.
Absolutely.
Just everyone can do whatever they want. Just sell all of our younger generation's dating lives to corporations for profit. And who pays the cost for this? Who has liability? So I think the real problem is that we are, as a society, as a government, the generations that came before me, and also my generation, I don't want to exclude myself from this, but also the generation came before me, just let technology rip. The promise was, if you let technology rip, if you let internet rip, there will be democracy and freedom and happiness and economic growth. And where is that? And I think my generation is noticing that broken promise.
Yes, we are. We are being shafted royally. We got screwed. The promise of the progression of technology will solve all of our problems was a blatant lie, and now they're taking our jobs. They're taking them all, But the point there is we're not having kids. This generation is having less and less children, and it's not. I don't think it's because they don't want to have kids. I really don't. It's because, like I said, they've been demoralized to the point where it's kind of, well, why would I? I can barely survive myself, let alone feed another child. And look, I'm of the mindset of, if you have a child, you'll make it work. Okay, but that the logic to get to that step of saying it will work out no matter what is a step too far for most people, because they don't have that kind of faith, which thankfully me and my wife do. As young millennials, we went for it, and obviously everything's working out fine, and we love it and we don't regret it, and it's probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. But a lot of young people our age, why would they? Everything costs too much. The whole world is falling apart, it seems. Why bring a child into this mess type of attitude? And it's kind of, it's just not feasible. I just can't afford to have a kid. It's that simple. But I think most people, given the opportunity, if they were given enough support from the government, let's say, and they were given incentives to have children and encouraged in some way, as though it's a good thing to have children, then they would do it, because they know, well, we can get through this, it'll be fine, the state will help us. And, children are a good thing. They're great. But the state doesn't think like that about children today. In fact, most propaganda coming out of the mainstream media in the UK is telling you that you shouldn't have children. You're a cancer on the earth. The more children is just going to cause more problems. It's more useless mouths to feed. And besides, white people should stop having children anyway. There's also that problem. Collapsing birth rates of the Western white people. It's just, we're below 2. We're not replacing ourselves. It's like 1.6 or something on average, which is weird. I don't know how they get these half a child results, but on average we're not having 2 children to replace 2 people. And that's not just here, that's across the board, across the world. In most of the Anglosphere, that is the case. And why? Well, because most people are choosing not to have children anymore, because, well, they've been guilted into thinking that you shouldn't have children because that's just a moral evil by some insane satanic pedophilic death cult, who also, they do believe, less people better, more concentrated consciousness into humanity. We get more powerful with less children. That's really what they believe. They are a insane death cult. That's the only way to describe it. So they would love for us to not have children, abort most of our children, and even, well, just kill the children while we're at it. Why not, They're happy for that. But they'll start at the beginning. Let's just make people not want to have them. It's easier. That's easier. And they've done that. And again, it's not because people don't really want to have them. It's because the circumstances are not there to encourage them to think it's a smart choice. And that's what everyone has to do today. Every choice has to be intelligent. One wrong move, you could be homeless. That's how it works now. That's where they've put people. They put them on the knife edge of bankruptcy and collapse. Everybody's there now. It doesn't matter who you are, how rich you are. I think everybody's getting there, unless you're above all that and you're one of the elites who prints the money. Most people are set to lose everything. Even middle class people have big houses with big mortgages, suddenly can't even afford to pay their own mortgages, and they're not going to be able to downsize because there's no properties to buy. Okay, there's no small family properties. They already got taken up, and the mid-sized ones are going to be out of their price range after they've sold up. Everyone's going to get screwed over here massively. Things are getting pretty bad. And he's explaining, technology has not done wonders for us. It's actually made things astronomically worse. And atomized us as well, and made us no longer have a support system network through community either. I think that's another big problem, because it really does take a village to raise a child. It takes the help of everybody, you know, and nobody knows their neighbor anymore, let alone loves their neighbor. Nobody even knows their neighbor, really, you know. I'm being facetious. I'm over exaggerating. I know some of you listening may actually genuinely know who your neighbor is. The way people move now, migrations into cities and the rest of it, everyone having their little cube to themselves. Most people don't know who's next to them or above them or around them anymore. And most people don't want to get to know, because the world is a dangerous place full of crazy, weird people, and everybody's under it and busy and distracted trying to just survive. So I haven't got time to make friends with the bloody neighbours. I need to find out where I'm going to get my next meal from. That's where they've got people. And you know what? There's going to be a solution coming very soon, no doubt, to fix this problem that they caused, and it's probably going to be energy lockdowns, possibly food rationing, something like this, and then it'll be 15-minute cities limiting travel, which will come with the energy lockdowns, and then it'll be encouraging people to basically eat bugs to get their protein, or 3D printed meat and the rest of it. They'll be shutting down. They'll create a scarcity that doesn't need to actually be there. And they'll all just keep fueling towards this idea that we need to rely on the state for our survival. We can't rely on each other. We certainly can't rely on ourselves. There's no money. No one's generating wealth anymore, and there are no jobs anyway because AI took them all. Robots are doing them all. So that really you got to subservient, eat the Soylent Green goy slop population then by that point, haven't you? Now look, that's like the worst case scenario, what they're aiming for. That's ideal for them. That would be great. Are they going to get there? Probably not, because people like me and yourself listening, and most people, as you just heard, they're being exasperated, are like, nah, this ain't right. No. I think younger generations who are going to replace these old bastards once they're dead anyway, probably not going to go down without fight over this, and are wiser than previous generations in a new way. I'm not saying, like, I know a lot of my older listeners think being old makes you wise, but not in this day and age, because there are things going on now that you will not understand, because you were not raised in the world of that kind of thing, like the technology we have today, its capabilities. There's a certain type of wisdom I think younger generations have that the older people lack, and it's basically an understanding of the ability to live through a low-trust society built on technological infrastructure. We are wiser to the plans and the schemes of the serpent today, and the methods he has at his disposal than previous generations are. And we have also lived long enough now to see and research the history of how we got here, and to understand that we are going to learn from the mistakes of the people of the past. Because look, people, like I said, people want to blame the boomers, for example, for everything. There's this huge generational divide right now, which is another problem, which is causing this whole nobody knows their neighbor situation, and everyone hates each other, doesn't trust each other. But younger generations are blaming older generations for this, and it's not that. It's not the generations above us that did this. It's the people who rule the systems who facilitated the situation we now live in, where we blame each other rather than the people who caused these problems. Now, look, yeah, the boomers did live through an extremely economically fruitful time. The average house literally costs 3 times a yearly wage. Right now, it's something like 7 to 10 times, even adjusted for inflation. Things are very different. They could pick a dime up that they found on the floor and go and treat themselves to a movie. Okay, they literally found money and went and did stuff with it. Can you imagine picking up a dime now? What you could do with that? Things were very, very different, and everything was new. Technology was new. TV was quite new. Propaganda movies had never really existed before in the way they were. So they would basically just run over through propaganda. They were just taken for a ride instantly, and they were from a high-trust society where they tell us we could leave our doors unlocked. Why would they have any reason to not trust the government, not trust the movies or the propaganda or anything like that, and assume there was a lie or something dodgy going on? Why would they? So they did everything that they thought was right because they were being complete and totally controlled from the very beginning because it was all brand new and they had no way of seeing the results in the future. They were told everything would just get better and better and better and better and better, like that young man was saying there, as we advance, as humanity advances. And they believed that. And obviously, as time went on, they accrued more wealth and resources and lived in abundance, never questioning anything. Suddenly, systems collapse, and no one can have that standard of living anymore. It's impossible. But the people who can't get that standard of living, the younger generations, look at the older generations and say, how have they got so much wealth compared to us? And they blame them for that. And it's kind of, no, you can't blame them for growing up in the time they grew up in where everything was going wonderful. Like, they didn't create those circumstances, they just benefited from them, and they didn't create the circumstances we're dealing with now. The people who ran the countries did all that, the people behind the scenes did all that, and they're happy for us to be blaming one generation after another. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I don't want to do that. But the point of this is, what I'm trying to say is, we as younger generations, it's not new anymore, the propaganda techniques. We're wise to their game, and it's not working on us. What worked then on the older generations is not working on the younger generations. You cannot propagandize us that easily. Some, yes, but the numbers are dwindling to the amount they can. It's no longer like a 99% conformity rate anymore to the current thing propaganda. It's more like an 80 to 70%. Like, the skepticism is higher than ever. And like Gen Z, yeah, they don't give it. They've checked out. They don't care. This system has failed them so miserably, they are not even going to play. And they know full well everything was a lie and they were just done over, and you can't fool them. They can see through propaganda instantly now. So the game's changed. The game has changed dramatically, and I just think that could be hopeful for us. It could be. And I factored in that other thing as well, the other aspect I mentioned a while ago, and that the new generations of controllers behind the scenes are not as good as the older generations. They are a victim of their own hedonism and success. They're just becoming drug-addled, oversexed, spoiled brats. You know what I mean? And their fathers and forefathers were serious men who got to business and maintained order. And their children are just not that. They're not the same. You know, they're getting worse with each successive generation as they live in excess, you know. And as a result, the power, I think the handles of power of these systems, these pyramidal systems behind the scenes are crumbling at the seams, really. And like I said, they're losing control. And I think younger generations are really saying, hell no. No, this ain't happening, not on our watch. We're done. Now, most people, obviously, are seeing through it and are currently in the state of blaming each other. Like I said, the generational warfare, or the men are blaming the women, or the women are blaming the men. I don't know. The pick a divide is one there. The left are blaming the right, and the right wing are blaming the left. It's just divide after divide, left versus right, black versus white, up versus down. It doesn't matter. Pick a duality. They've got them all screaming at each other and tearing each other's throats out. But most of them are doing that because they realize there's something horribly wrong. I think more and more people, as we reach a term I've coined called the truther singularity, like more people are quickly going, oh, wait a minute. It's not you that did this to me. It's that guy over there behind the curtain. You know, everyone's suddenly pulling back and realizing some strings have been pulled here. We're being played. And I don't know how that's going to pan out. And I don't think this is like what they were planning, like the externalization of the hierarchy thing either. Like they had their plans to drip feed the truth of the hidden hand behind the scenes and externalize the spiritual aspects that's going on behind the scenes as well in a way that would make the public accept it and even want to join our systems, you know. But I think they tried to externalize the hierarchy and everyone went, no, screw you, this is stupid and evil. No, we're not going to be okay with this. It didn't work. So they've externalized the hierarchy and everyone's pissed. I think that's what happened here. And that's fun. That's cool. It's kind of like a man makes plans but God laughs type of situation, isn't it? And I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it. Anyway, I rambled on for about half an hour, so let me go back into the chat here, just letting people know, if you do want to call in and maybe vent, share something you've been thinking about, or you've got something on your mind, or you just want to ask me something, or I don't know, anything at all, if you want to call in and have a chat, I would love to do that today. So please send an email to understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. Okay? UnderstandingConspiracy@gmail.com. And you can join, have a call. I'll send you a Zoom link. You just click the link, and it'll take you through the web browser to a place where you can just hop on and we can chat. All right? You don't need an account. You don't need anything. You just click the link, and it'll take you to a thing where you click accept camera and microphone, or turn your camera off if you want, and I'll be able to hear you. We can have a chat. So if you're interested in calling in today, just to have a talk, anyone can. I'm available. This is the chance. Send an email stating your interest and what you'd like to talk about a little bit. You know, if you've got something in particular, to understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. Any funny business, you'll just instantly be knocked off anyway. Like, you'll just be cut off. I'm not wasting my time. But if you do want to have a general just conversation, or get us just events, if you want to treat me like a therapist, even though I'm not technically a real therapist, come on and have a chat, vent, and get it all off your chest. That's what this is for. It's the Truth of Therapy session. So please email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. So this isn't a complete and total failure of a show. I'm relying on you guys to make this happen. All right, I've got enough of you in here now. I think it's good to announce this again. I'm checking my email to see if anybody's shown any interest whatsoever. I've got nothing yet, so no one's emailed in yet. My wife says she's going to call in. do you want to call in? You can call in if you want. Yeah. Just let me know. I'll send you the email. If anyone else does it, I might too. Claire, if you want to come on and have a chat, come on and have a chat. Forget about the people. It's just me and you. It'll just be me and you talking. And, we're all in this together. We're all in this together at the end of the day. No clowning around. That's right. Funny commercial Paul made about his book. I do make commercials about my book. Yes, I've got quite a few in the bank. There'll be plenty more coming up soon in the latter half of the year as the second book gets published around July, August time. That's my target. If it goes into September, November, then so be it. But I'll have some adverts lined up as well, some fun ones. I'm a chatter, not a caller, says Garden of Eden. Oh, you could be both. Don't sell yourself short. I might, says Claire. Well, Claire, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com and I'll send you a link and I'll be waiting. I'll just be waiting. He called you out, Claire. Do it. That's it. Now, you can't leave us all hanging, can you? What else have we got? We've got Solo Roach. They made it way worse. Born in 61, says Joyful. I'm not insulted, brother. Just sassy about this weird view. We're all indoctrinated. Well, it's not that, like I said, I talked in generalities. There's always some people in every generation who did not go along with the norm. Not everybody is a group. There's no such thing as these generational monoliths that we say, really. These are just labels we're giving to a general group of people. Not all, but most should always be applied to everything I ever say about a group of people. Okay? Not all, but generally speaking, that's what it should always take. So don't get offended. I'm not here to offend anybody in particular or call individuals out. The system today is trying to kill the boomers off. Almost all are jabbed. I'm in the minority, says Yukon Dan. Yeah, I think you could be right. Like I mean, it was something like a 99% compliance rate or something, wasn't it, for that generation? They all just got it and got the boosters to match, and just kept going and going and going every 6 months to get another one. And it's unbelievable, really. Like, there's going to be consequences for that. And it's sad and horrible to think about. It really is, like, absolutely mortifyingly horrible to think about. But they are a huge portion of the population. They make up the majority of most populations in the West. Like, they are a massive chunk. And they're already set to disappear over the next 20 years to natural causes. But if there's just a sudden drop-off all of a sudden, there's going to be I don't know what that's going to do to the economy or anything, really. It's going to be insane. But it could. I mean, the Deagle report, everyone remember this weird think tank report that came out from some American intelligence agency, like in 2019 or something. And it predicted that by 2025, or maybe this time of year, the populations of all the Western worlds would just be dramatically dropped by, like, huge chunks. Not small amounts, millions, hundreds of millions in some cases would just vanish like that. And populations would plummet, and it gave no reason as to why those were the predictions. And this was pre-COVID. when this report came out. So maybe they knew something we didn't know. And obviously, I don't think it was quite a success. I think a lot of people haven't died from COVID like they were anticipating, or the boosters. If that was the plan to kill people off, I don't think it worked. And I think maybe that's why they're coming after nicotine right now in the UK, because it seems like nicotine stops and blocks the receptors which some of these chemicals would have latched onto that are in these vaccines, and even COVID as well. So perhaps that's why they're coming after banning nicotine, because too many people smoke, especially older generations, and they just didn't die because the receptors that would have been messed with didn't get messed with because of the nicotine. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe we just kind of try again once all cigarettes have been banned or something. I'm just riffing here. I have no idea. But that's a terrifying thought. Absolutely. I love your beard, dude. Well, thank you. You know, with this, it was getting a bit long and shaggy, and I was starting to look like a homeless person. And I know I look better when it's somewhere around this mid-range, not too short, not too long. But I couldn't find my razor charger that plugs into my electric razor. I just couldn't find the damn thing. It's gone. It's vanished. So I'm never using the electric razor ever again. So I did scissors. My wife has some proper hairdressing scissors, which she foolishly used one day on her own hair and regretted ever since. Again, I don't think she'll be doing that again anytime soon. But they're very handy scissors. They're very good. They're very sharp. And I just had a go with it and went at it, and I was like, it worked. My God, I've got it, you know. So I've left it this, and I haven't been able to do the neck beard bit, like these scraggly bits. So I need to get a razor and go at it when I get a chance. But thanks. I'm glad someone noticed. As someone who has always naturally questioned everything, I can't understand boomers trust the media. Like, if the BBC said it, it just had to be true to them, says my wife. It does seem like that. I was raised in a household where the news was always on every day, and then they would watch the programming and whatever it is, you know, and very much a TV fan household growing up. Everything was done in front of the telly, you know. And as I got older, I was like, I can't be bothered. There's better things on YouTube than what's on TV. And then obviously my natural distrust for everything made me think like that's all bollocks. I don't care about any of this bullshit. But they don't. They just continue, and they really do. Just what the news is saying is happening, and that's it. That's my life. And they just live in that world. And it's a completely false reality they're living in. Like, and it's dictated to them every day with the daily upload from the news of what to think today. And they've very little has changed. I still love them, you know, and you know, there's some nuance. They're not robots or drones. They have the moments where they're intellectual and funny and say things, and they have wisdom to share for like raising children and the rest of it. But when it comes to that day-to-day, how is the world moving type of information and knowledge, they are just robots to that extent. They really are. They just believe what the box told them is true. And I don't understand that. Younger generations do not do that. We do not do that. And even like, we don't even trust alternative media. As my recent video suggested, it's like most people are like, yeah, it's entertaining, but like it's a bit, but it's still bullshit. Like, nobody trusts anybody anymore. We are not in a high trust society. So these media outlets relied on trust, that the public naturally trusts people who wear a suit and speak politely and like have this demeanor about them or speak with authority, and nobody gives a shit anymore. It's kind of like nobody even trusts their doctors, their dentists, or anyone. It's like, nah, that I don't care if you're wearing a lab coat or a nice suit with a tie. You're talking bollocks. Like, everyone's over it now, and I think they're scrambling to try and find a way to regain that means of control, which is media. And I think it's falling apart and crumbling all around them, to be honest. My dad, unfortunately, believes the mainstream media says rascal too, son. It's just the majority of that generation do. It's how it's just, I guess it's like tradition. It's just how it's always been. There's never been another way to do it. And that old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, I think it just tends to be true once those synapses are welded into the brain matter. Like, it's hard to break that. It's just the way it is, you know? The state will make take all boomer assets. They will. Absolutely, they will, yeah. Good luck for stopping everyone from smoking. Well, they already are. They already are. I mean, you say good luck and everything, but the younger generations don't want to smoke because it's stupid. I don't think they care about it. I think they're like, well, why would I do that? It'd just kill me anyway. I think they're over it, you know, they're very health conscious, most of the younger generations. My generation was the skins generation. We didn't care. We were out partying, drinking heavily and smoking in our teens, you know. It's just what you did. What else were you going to do? But we all grew up to get to basically drop all that and go straight edge and try and make up for the damage we did in our 30s. That's me. I'm one of those people. Trying my best to hope what I did to my lungs doesn't develop into cancer in the future, you know. And just quit all that kind of stuff and repent and go the other way. I think younger generations are just not picking up these bad habits, which seem dumb. But they've passed into UK law now, or they're going to. I don't know if they've done it or they are going to do it. I can't remember which. But if you're born after 2009, I think it is now, or 2008, because that'll mean you'll be 18 now. If you're born past that, you now can no longer buy nicotine products. It's illegal. If you're born before, you still can. So older people still can. Younger people can't from now on. Anyone being born now can never legally buy cigarette products. So that takes a few generations. Nobody smokes. It's done. It'll also create a black market, but the people who will partake in the black market will be a minuscule amount of people. So they don't care. It'll be negligible. And that's it. However they programmed them, they did a decent job, to be fair. They did. They were good at programming people then. And I'm trying to get, again, you're helping me kind of reiterate my point here, that it's kind of, it was all new then to that generation who were raised on that kind of thing. They trusted people. They trusted their governments. They trusted the media. Okay? And they were being so heavily propagandized and indoctrinated and programmed into being a certain way, they had no idea how to defend themselves from it, or that was even a thing. They didn't even know that could happen. Like, it's completely a new phenomena, you know what I mean? Like, it was so they had no context, nothing to look on as a warning sign, or nobody to tell them, we did this over here and it turned out this way. Like, hindsight's 2020, you know. They had no idea that they were being brainwashed. They didn't know, and they just were completely victim to it through and through. An unwavering majority, 99.999 recurring % of them were. And then they had no way of knowing it was happening to them, so they just became victims of it instantly, and hook, line, and sinker, and still are today, and are continuing the agenda that was set in place then, because they were programmed to. That's basically it. Like, they still think you can put on a suit and tie and take your curriculum vitae printed out to a place and just give it to them and you'll get a job. Because they are retired, have their wealth, are living in a complete bubble dictated to them by the media, still, where they get all their information on how the world runs. So, you know, they think it's our fault that we are struggling to do anything or can't get a leg up, and it's not their fault they think that. They're just the victims of the programming, and you can't undo it now. Like, I think most of them, sadly, really are kind of just too far gone into it. And I'm not saying they can't be pulled out of it, and Jesus can certainly save them and show them the truth, the way in their life, absolutely, and all the rest of it. But when it comes to these simple, trivial society matters, they're pretty set in their ways. They're pretty certain about how things function, even if they're outdated. And they don't know. They're not willing to update. They can't. Like, they're an old form of hardware trying to function in a world where everything's becoming holographic. It's something like this, and it's odd. It's odd because the problem is they are such a large chunk of every population. The majority, in fact, you know, they're like 40 to they're huge. They're not called boomers for nothing. They were part of a generation where they basically became a huge chunk of society. They vote for everything. They control everything. They're the ones who have been programmed to vote a certain way. So they're perfect. They get used all the time by the real problem, the real enemy who's running things behind the show. Like, they don't pander to us, the minority generations, the younger generations. They always pander to the older generations and get their votes to vote in certain policies and changes that not only benefits in their interests to maintain their wealth and assets at the expense of the younger generations, but while they're voting for that, something else will be brought in that they're not aware of, that they've also just voted for inadvertently, which will cause more control and problems and give more power over to the machine, you know. But they don't know they're doing that. They just heard, well, make sure your pension's safe. So they vote for it. Like, because they trust. They have this innate built-in trust with them from a high-trust society they grew up in that doesn't exist anymore. And to be honest, the system has always treated them well. They have no reason to doubt their leaders, the systems, and the governments, because the government looked after that generation to use them specifically for what's happening right now. So they're being played. You have to kind of have sympathy for them in the way that they don't know what they don't know. And, you know, if you watch my video, The Haze, kind of also explains a lot where they're coming from and why they're in that mindset exactly and what's going on there. So I went off on a rant there, didn't I? Sorry. Look, I'm not, yeah, I get passionate about these type of things. I've got an email here. Is this somebody who wants to call in? Let's have a look. Okay, that hasn't come up. Okay, let me Claire, I'll send you a link. Come and join me. Come and join me. Don't be scared. You have nothing to be scared of, I promise. I'll start a meeting here on Zoom now. We'll start that. That might affect the way it looks on here. No, it's all good. It's all good. I'll start a Zoom meeting and I will close that. Close that. I don't need AI to dictate and transcribe everything I'm doing. I will get the link, copy invite link, and I will send you a link right now, Claire. And we'll have a 10 minutes. We'll have a 10-minute chat. Click on that link, head on in, and we can have a talk, okay? He says you have questions on the short season and maybe one about my book. Okay. It says he says you're younger though, and I don't know if my mum would be okay with it. Okay, well, if you're not sure, get her permission first. That's all I'll say, all right? So just get that for peace of mind. She can be there if she wants to be, and we'll have a bit of a back and forth and a talk. You said your dad introduced you to my channel. That's interesting. Excellent. For the other people, I've got Gus as well. You are a GWAT vet from America, and you want to discuss recent disclosure. Is that the Gulf War? You're a Gulf War veteran? Is that what you're saying there? I'm not sure what GWAT means. That's like clearly some kind of military talk for something I have no idea what you're talking about. We want to talk about disclosure of aliens. Okay, we'll get you on next. Absolutely. And Saul, you want to talk about mental health in dystopia. We can do that. I'll get you guys on as well. And I also have here another one. So that's 4 people lined up, possibly. We have you just want to encourage me. Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for that. I appreciate it. It looks like you don't want to come on. Okay, so Claire, if we're waiting for you, if you just want to get permission first and you're not sure, I'm going to get another guest on now, first of all. And then maybe if you come back and you've got confirmation, we'll get you on. Okay, we'll have a quick conversation. We'll keep it quick. We won't go too far. But yeah, anybody who's nervous, again, just consider that you're talking to just me. Forget the audience. That's the best way to do this. But yeah, I'll send the invite link now. And I'll send that to the first person who did email me. And that is Saul. So Saul, I'm going to send you the link. And when you're ready to join, just click that link, come and join, and we'll be in. Okay, we'll get it sorted. I'm just going to close that tab. And then I'll get to everybody. We'll get to everyone, including the veteran. Okay, we'll get to everyone. We've got time. We've got an hour left, so we'll have to keep the conversations relatively short, about 10 minutes, but we can do this, okay? Hitting the nail on the head, says an average Joe. Unfortunately, most can't comprehend the truth or refuse to accept the truth. Regardless, Idiocracy may have been foreshadowing the reality of the future. For all we can say about the movie Idiocracy, it was a good movie. It was a good movie, as much as it was foreshadowing our terrible, terrible future. I got a super chat here from Askus33. Hey, Paul, can we get a Patreon video on how to overthrow UK government system? No, I'm not going to make any videos that seem like I'm starting a revolution against the government. But that's probably enough to get me arrested in this country. I do not encourage any violent form of revolution whatsoever. If we are going to do anything in this country, peaceful non-compliance is likely the best way to go. Or if you believe in that kind of stuff, maybe vote for the right guy. Who knows, eh? And that's the best I can offer on that one. I'm not starting any revolutions anytime soon. How dare you apologize for ranting on your own channel, says Vinny. I do it all the time. Okay, Claire, no pressure. You don't have to do anything. Don't worry about it, okay? You don't have to, okay? I'm sure Saul will hop on and he'll fill some time. So Saul, you've got the link if you're listening. The link is in your emails. Click it, hop on. Come and join me. I think he's just come now. So let's do this. Let's see. We'll admit. And I think he's coming in. Saul, can you hear me? Are you there? I've got nothing yet. Where is he? Oh, he's joining. It's loading. It's taking its sweet time. Give me a second. I'll share the screen with you guys so you can see what I can see. Here we go. Click it. Hop on. Come and join me. I think he's just come now. So let's do this. Let's see. Saul, could you just turn off me in the background if that's all right? Okay. Can you hear me? No. Yeah. Okay, listen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You need to turn off the video you're watching. Yeah, because I can hear that talking. It's like a delay of like 8 seconds or something, so I'm hearing what I said 8 seconds ago. But you can hear me loud and clear? And I can hear you too? Okay, right. And the audience can hear you now as well. How are we doing, Saul? What do you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, I love your channel. I honestly was in a, grumpy mood this morning and wanted to kind of tap into something. And saw your channel and I love what you're doing, man. So really appreciate you.
Oh, thanks.
And yeah, no, I'm calling in from Vancouver, BC. It's a beautiful day. And yeah, I just, for me, mental health, for me, it always comes back to mental health because I feel like, at least in my own personal story, almost in a selfish way. It's like, okay, but how do I actually, all this, it's even funny, like, all these truthers are now kind of with Jeffrey Epstein thing or whatever, now they all are aware of it and they were just saying how depressing it is to be aware of all this stuff and then like see no change actually is going to happen. And that's, I guess my point is that it really comes back to, for me, mental health and actually how do we find happiness? How do we find peace? How do we find contentment when, at least for me, and I'll give you, this is a good example, just walking around Vancouver, it's like it's the whole ignorance is bliss situation. And so everything, it's one thing to know it and it's another thing to walk around and just see it everywhere. Even in my grocery store, which is underneath me, it's just you're literally, every section is interrupted by poison, like just trying to like kind of converge you into like a cattle to bounce into poison. So yeah, I'm just curious to have a conversation on kind of, what it is to be awake and keep your mental health and staying informed, non-informed, and what
Yeah,
have you.
it's a tough one. I mean, I've got an entire series dedicated to it,
Yeah,
called The Tips for Truthers. Maybe go check that out. There's a playlist there. There's quite a lot of episodes available that kind of tackled this issue of how do we live as a truther in the world, knowing these things, but still having to get up and go pay our taxes and get to work and raise a family and do the things we should be doing with our life, which is living it. How do we live a life in a world that's completely and totally corrupt and fallen, and is ridiculous once you wake up as well? You can't really take pleasure in the things you used to anymore. You can't do the things that used to give you joy anymore because you can see right through them as possibly dangerous for you by this point, And it kind of ruins everything. Everything is ruined once you wake up, isn't it? That's what it feels like. And I think
that's what it really feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. I went there. I've been there. I think most people listening can really relate to what you said and feel the same thing. And I completely get it. So go check out that series. It's just the ramblings of the insane. It's me trying to get out what I've learned over the years and how I dealt with it. But fundamentally, I think you eventually. How long ago would you say it was you kind of started thinking like this and getting into the truth stuff? I mean, how far along are you in terms of years?
Just 1 second.
Sure.
All right, I'm back. My roommate's coming in.
No, it's cool.
No, it's been a long journey. I think it's been honestly, I think I'm one of these people that saw it so early, like even in elementary school, and it just didn't. Even within my home life, things weren't adding up. It just wasn't adding up to me. And then obviously kind of you go through, you do some psychedelics in your early 20s or what have you. And that kind of pushes you towards being a hippie or whatever it is. And then you realize kind of the limitations of that. But I would say it's always kind of, I don't know. I wasn't falling for it. The marketing of the life just didn't. Yeah, I was just seeing through it. And then, but I guess the challenge has been, it's just every year it just gets worse. And not only that, it's so much worse than I even possibly could have imagined. And I think that's the struggle that I'm really having today. It's not so much that I was right in my kind of, adolescent hippie phase of like, oh, it's all corrupt and, the system's against you. It's like, oh no, it's so much darker and sinister than you can even fathom. And every year seems to actually, it just, in this age of information, it just seems to like peel back another layer that I just really almost didn't want to peel back.
I get what you say. I think it felt like when I first researched something like 2012, 2011, when I kind of fell into it, again, my early 20s, doing the psychedelic stuff and trying to find myself and the rest of it. It felt like a faraway future concept, this New World Order stuff. Like, that's something that's going to happen in the future. And here I am now, 10 years, 12 years later. I'm like, that came fast and hard, man. Where the hell did that come from? I thought we had more time. It really felt like it was always a future thing that we were musing about and talking about. And now I'm looking around like you are, and I'm thinking, like, this is now. Like, they're making the moves now. This is not just a future concept if they're lucky. It's kind of, no, they're really trying now to do this, and they are implementing changes, starting wars, doing mass experiments on people, psychological warfare, and the rest of it. And I get the hopelessness. I really do. I get that tendency to have a mental health struggle while you're at it. I'd be a liar if I was to say I did not have my days where I just get nihilistic about the whole thing and sit there in the office just staring into the void for like an hour or two, just trying to figure out what are we going to do here. But then I have those moments where I remember it's kind of, no, like, the enemy wants us to not have life. They are trying to demoralize us. And I'm not willing to give the bastards that satisfaction, is kind of where I came to as my conclusion. It's like, look, I have a life here. God made me fearfully and wonderfully, and this is the life I have. I don't have another one, and I'm not going to let them make me waste it. and also waste my time chasing after things that they tell me I need to be happy in this life, like power and money and influence and so forth. If you can let that go and kind of have that whole detached from the world thing going on, you can kind of get to what Paul was talking about, being in the world but not of the world kind of mentality. And you can kind of just watch it happen, understanding that, well, this is just the way the world actually works. You realize it's been fallen since Adam. You know, this is actually pretty much the norm, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just in our small, myopic 80-year, if you're lucky, lifespan to 100 years, we don't see enough of it to realize it's always been this way. And it always feels like the end's now in our time, in our lifetime. And I don't think that's really the case. And I think if they can get us in that mindset of always being in fear, then they've destroyed you. They've won. So I kind of learned to let that go a long time ago. And as I explained, as the years go on, you have your 5 stages of grief when you first wake up, and you go through the motions, and you come full circle back to acceptance. And it really is like that. And I don't know, you come through back to the other side, knowing all this stuff, but being normal again. Being back a person living in the world again, just armed with knowledge that'll make you move through it with making wiser decisions than if you were still just whim to the programming. And I guess that's the only solace you can really have. I mean, we need to let go of the savior stuff. Like, we are not going to save the world. And I don't think we are.
Right.
I don't think we're going to solve that problem either. And obviously a lot of the despair comes from musing about how the hell are we going to fix this? You can't. It's like trying to put back together something that's been smashed with a hammer and then a blowtorch has been taken to it. You know what I mean? It's like you can't salvage this mess of what we're dealing with here. And maybe the system is supposed to fall anyway when you really get down to it. And that doesn't mean people fall apart when systems fall apart necessarily. People have shown great resolve during hard times and generally tend to pull together into communities and help each other out. And empires rise and empires fall throughout history. Maybe we're just in the middle of one of those rising and falling empires, and something else will take its place and it will continue and life will go on. You just need to ask yourself, like, do I want my life to go on? Like, am I going to just give up, or am I just going to perhaps have the children, get the job, do the hobby, plant the garden? You know, people who plant gardens have a hope for tomorrow. I think that's something you need to remember, you know. And I think there's something healthy about going out and doing the very first job man was given, which is go and tend to a garden. So that's my advice for what it's worth.
No, I love it. I love it. And I think, I'll check out your videos. And again, I appreciate what you're doing. It's very cathartic, even just to not feel alone in it. And I think, what was I going to say? Yeah, I just think I just say 2 things. There's definitely the stages of grief. And I love the Christian angle. Like, I'm fully in. I was living my atheist agnostic life and randomly had an encounter. And so I've been kind of exploring that ever since. But I love the Christian framing. I guess the one thing that I do find unique, it just seems that, so much of it's not that the truths are not real within that time period and what Paul's talking about and what Jesus is talking about. And all, there is timeless wisdom in that. I guess I find it's a lot of that timeless wisdom, it's hard to map it on today, where the rate of change is just so, like, I actually was in Jerusalem Israel a year ago, and I went to Sea of Galilee, and I was walking, and I was revisiting all those experiences, and I even went to Jesus' town where he's preaching and what have you. It's just such a small, simple, tech-free life, where when you lay that out, I don't know, I just see robot dogs and drones and not even being able to go take the bus unless your eye is scanned and what have you. And so I'm not trying to scare everyone, but I don't know, I just wish there was kind of it almost feels like, like cows, where we're getting moved into something that actually there is going to be less and less and less and less control. So it's, the garden is great, the skipping is great, you know, it's a beautiful day here right now, but it's these mechanisms that are so powerful that are corralling us just slower, you know, just one step at a time. And so it's that really and again, if I'm you know, I'm still learning your audience, so if I'm being a bit of a doomer,
it's okay. No.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Do you live in a
Yeah.
city by any chance? Are you in?
I live in a city. I live in it's where we're 15-minute city. I can actually see their what they're doing with the streets is they're actually making it harder and harder to actually get into downtown. And there's less and less and less parking. So what you see now is you just see people circling more and more. I actually live just kind of as you come into downtown, and it's what used to be 4 lanes of driving is now going into 2 lanes, 1 each way. But even that a bus will stop the traffic.
Yeah, I see.
So it's just, and there's nowhere to park.
Yeah. I don't think cities are your friend in this world when it comes to
Yeah.
staying sane. I mean, I hate cities, even in England. Like, I cannot stand going to London. I've been a few times in my life, and I regretted it every single time. It's disgusting. I think cities are really a cesspit of misery and pain. And if I could recommend anything, find a way to go to a shire somewhere, or a suburb maybe, or somewhere that has a field nearby, and go and smell the flowers and watch the butterflies in bloom. You know, because that'll give you some joy, some minor joy that I don't think concrete cities can really give you. Unfortunately.
Fortunately, Vancouver is absolutely stunning, and we're actually one of the few cities that actually has nature. Like, I'll show you. This is my view.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
So
that's good.
But no, it's good advice. No, I definitely, when I see, actually, I traveled for a year, and you see these other cities and you don't see nature. And I'm literally looking on Google Maps, like trying to find a park. And then I get to the park and it's just like grass and a bench. And you're like, oh my God, wow. Like fortunately, Vancouver actually is quite beautiful.
It looks beautiful. Well, you've got that at least. I mean, what you were saying there about the whole related to the biblical narrative and how it seems a bit detached from the modern world when you consider what the troubles they had aren't really comparable necessarily to what we have to deal with now in the modern world, especially when it comes to technology. I would say for as much as technology changes, people don't. I think the wisdom in the Bible is more about the what do you call it? Like the condensed essence of humanity. It's not necessarily about the times or the circumstances you live in. It's about people's behavior given certain circumstances and pressures. And I think the thing about humanity is greed is the same, lust is the same, pride is the same, no matter what setting you put a person in. You know, these sins, these things that the gluttony and the rest of it, you know, these things that bring you in, wrath and the rest. It's a human condition. I think the Bible speaks heavily to that, regardless of what setting you want to put it in. I think that's what you really have to take from it. And yet, look, there are geographical, socio-political circumstances that are not the same, but people have not changed, and leadership and corruption certainly hasn't changed either. The tactics of the devil are the same today, tomorrow. That they have always been this way, and it's because we don't change. We are whim to our passions, and the devil knows it, so he plays on them. And I think that's the wisdom you should probably take from those stories more than anything. But I'll have to leave it there. We've been going for over 10 minutes already. I have some other guests that want to line up. Was this good? Did you enjoy this?
It's great. Thanks for doing what you're doing, man. I really appreciate you all looking more into your work.
Thanks, Saul. No, I appreciate you calling out. I appreciate the talk. And like I said, go for a walk, man. Maybe not near that road you were talking. Maybe not near that road you were talking about, but go find the nearest bit of nature you can find, and just go lie down on the grass and watch the clouds if you can even see the clouds. Okay, right. But God bless, man. Take it easy. Bye now.
Bye.
Well, that was good. That was fun. I enjoyed that. He was a nice guy, wasn't he? And I hope him all the best. I hope he, we're just all trying to figure it out, aren't we? You know, I get it. And yeah, cities can be rough. And I think Canada is quite a lot far along the agenda than most places. It's like a testing ground for a lot of the crap that we're going to start seeing here, and it looks like he's already getting the whole retina scan, digital ID thing going on, you know, and being monitored at every step, and the ability to maneuver and the whole reduction of your carbon footprint nonsense is really probably in full swing there from the sounds of it, and that's a shame, you know, that's a shame. But I hope him all the best, and yeah, let's get somebody else on. Who else have we got? Claire, did you want to join? Because I'm gonna have to send you a new link because I have to start a new Zoom call now. I will send it across if you do want to hop on for a short talk. So bear with me. I'll just quickly start up the a new one. Get a new link. Copy invite link, and I will send that right now. So Claire, I've sent you a new link to a new one. If you want to hop on, we'll keep it short, we'll keep it quick. We won't do it. We won't go too deep if you don't want to, and you can just ask your questions and so forth. No fear, nothing to worry about. You saw the conversation there with Saul. It's nice and easy. We can just take it easy. Okay, so let's see. The link's sent. We'll see if you want to join. Let me know in the chat if you're ready, and then after that we'll get the next gentleman on as well who wants to talk about disclosure. Oh, Saul, if you are listening as well, join my Telegram group and talk to us, have a chat, connect with people, network with people in your area. Who knows? Might be really helpful just to connect with people. That can always help too, you know. So yeah, join the Telegram. Anyone listening, join the Telegram. So you can talk with like-minded people and not feel so alone. That's what it's for. Canada is heavy into population replacement. Yeah, I've heard that too. They've gone full hog on the whole killing people. That's assisted suicide stuff as well, haven't they? I've heard. And there's a lot of people who have taken that up and have killed themselves, legally speaking, in a hospital setting. And it's kind of mad, really. It's a crazy line to have crossed, like a crazy line. In the meantime, let me just quickly check if I have any other emails sent through, because it's saying the meeting link is invalid. Yeah, Claire, you got to click the new meeting link. There we go. Claire's here. Let's get her in. And Claire, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So yeah, don't be nervous. Don't worry.
I am. I'm so nervous.
I understand. It's okay. It's just me and you. All right. Don't.
Okay.
Just chill.
Yeah.
So what would you like to ask? What's on your mind?
Okay, so I had a question about the short season because I had been watching you and JT Follows JC a lot on that because my dad, he introduced me to this kind of stuff and I got interested in it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the truth, you know, like, wow. And
okay.
I haven't seen a lot of that around recently. It's been like kind of not really going on anymore. And my dad talked to me and he was like, it's probably because there's a lot of people who are like trying to make these videos, but they're spreading not truth, they're spreading lies and false things and everything. And I was like, okay, maybe that is true, but I don't like understand, I guess, why there's like no more really short season videos going on anymore. And I just, you know.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, it's first of all, I mean, it's amazing that your dad showed my work and that kind of thing to you. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? Like,
oh, I'm almost 15, actually.
Yeah, you don't really find people in that age bracket listening to this kind of stuff, so that's pretty intense and very rare. I'll say that much. But you know, if you're interested, I mean, I personally, when I made my little season videos, that was a while ago. Like it was a long time ago now. I think I stopped about a year ago, roughly. About 9-10 year ago, something like that in terms of months. And it's because things got weird. Like I spent a good year making content on that topic because I was so passionate about it, because it's, like I said, it has that truth to it that just hits you right in the soul. It's like to the very core, isn't it? And there's not really much you can't ignore it once you hear it. And I think obviously it sounds like it got your dad's attention as well for that reason. And I get it, you know, and it got me, and that, which is why I couldn't stop talking about it. And I talked about it for so long, an entire movement suddenly got created inadvertently, and next thing you know, we have this team going of like a collect few channels who got involved, and we became these like leaders of an odd movement just talking about this one topic. And as time went on, I started to get attacked. It got really weird. I had these outside smaller channels trying to accuse me of being all sorts and everything under the sun, trying to make out I'm some evil deceiver of some kind. At the same time, some of these smaller channels who I had helped and had on my own channel and talked with to share started turning against me as well and trying to say I don't talk about specific things when I should be, and I'm not religious enough, or I'm actually an evil paid agent satanic shill or something. And it was just getting weird. Like I was getting attacked from all these weird angles, and then there was this stuff about like a convention that was going to happen. Some woman got involved and invited us to kind of get together and do this convention. And last minute I pulled out because I thought like this is too dangerous for me. I have too many people out there kind of who don't like me. Like they really don't like me. And I'm not willing to stand up on a stage somewhere in America where they have guns and start publicly showing myself. I have a family to think about, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, maybe that's a bridge too far. Who am I anyway? I don't think the little season needs a convention personally. You know, I think it's probably get a bit weird if we did that. Let's just leave it, you know. And then from then on, I just said, I'm done with this topic. I've said everything I possibly can say. I'm on repeats by that point. I've done plenty of podcast physics explaining what I believe it's about and my theories and ideas on it. And there's plenty of other channels now who are talking about it. So, you know, they want the topic, they can have it. I don't care. Like, take it, become the leaders of it, like you so desperately seem to want to be for some reason. I don't want to be a leader in this group, you know. I just thought it was an interesting thing I like talking about and believe in. But you clearly want to turn it into a church, so go ahead, become the little season church of the modern age or whatever that is. You know, I don't care. And I just stopped making content on it, and they were left to their own devices, went off and made their own little groups, and as far as I'm aware, they're still making content on it. But clearly, the algorithm doesn't care anymore and isn't pushing it to anybody if you're not seeing it anymore. But I stopped kind of watching it, to be honest. I don't know what's going on in that scene anymore. Maybe you can enlighten me if you see anything at all. I mean, it sounds like you're not, to be honest.
Well, it's just because when you started like looking into it, I was 1 year old, right? I was 1 year old. I couldn't like follow it then, of course. So I kind of looked back to it now, and as it got more recent and stuff, I saw that I don't know, you guys just kind of stopped posting videos about it, and I'm not complaining or anything. Your videos are great. I watch a lot of them, and I actually wanted to buy one of the signed copies of your books, and I emailed you about that, but I couldn't actually get it because I kind of don't have any money.
Okay.
And I don't think my mom would buy it for me or anything, you know. So there was that issue and everything. I really liked watching your videos, and kind of not seeing any of the short season stuff was a little bit, you know, sad, I guess.
Okay, well, maybe see if your dad can help you out instead. He might be more open to it than your mum. But email me again. We'll sort something out for you. I can get you a signed copy somehow. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about that. Okay. But yeah, no. I mean, if is there anything else on the little season you want to ask while you've got me for like another 5 minutes or so? But I hope that answers your question as to why I stopped talking about it. It's not like I haven't really stopped, to be honest. It's kind of in everything I do, I bring it back to that every now and then. Because I think it's the answer. I think it's why we have a conspiracy. I think it contextualizes things very well as to what's going on. I just don't make like dedicated videos only about the little season anymore. Do you get what I mean? But I still talk about it. I would say that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I wasn't trying to like, you don't ever talk about this like ever, you know. I was just kind of, I don't know, it kind of just wasn't how it used to be, I guess. And I'm not really I guess I'm not really I don't know, experienced in that at all or whatever, but it was just, I don't know, I just noticed something different when I was going through all your videos and stuff. And it definitely wasn't like a complete stop. It was just like a little more subtle here and there, you know.
That's what I'm going for. And look, I mean, to be the honest truth, now it's been long enough, and no doubt somebody somewhere is going to attack me for saying this now, because that's always what happens when I do bring this up. But it's just the scene's just not for me anymore. Like, all power to the people out there who are still doing that kind of thing. I just don't like the direction it went in personally. I think it got a little bit too cultish. I really do. Like, I think it's just not for me. And look, I didn't want to start a new denomination of Christianity. You know, I think the last thing Christianity needs is a brand new denomination. To be honest, I think there's enough of that. And you know, if you are a little seasonist or not, you're still a brother or sister in Christ in my eyes. And I don't think we should be dividing ourselves over eschatology personally. And when I voiced these concerns originally, it wasn't met well with the community, which tells me something's gone rotten within it. You know, I think there's a kind of a religious fervor within it that feels odd. You know what I mean? And I just it's not my vibe. It's just not what I was going for. But mad respect to the people out there still doing it, still talking about it. And I'll say to them, you don't need me to be talking about it. The truth is the truth, and it stands on its own. And it doesn't need defending. It doesn't need like a champion out there to defend it. If it's true, it stands on its own legs. That's all that counts in my eyes. And don't worry about it, you know?
Yes, of course, but it was reassuring hearing it from you, because it was like, I don't know, it's just something, we trust you, you know, my dad and my brothers and we trust you, right? And like the stuff that you say, it's like, yeah, that checks out, right? But then other people go and they're talking about, I don't know, random stuff that kind of doesn't really align as good as you aligned it, you know, which is, I don't know.
I think that the issue is a lot of people who came to the Little Season stuff and started making content, they came out of a church prior to that, which had its own dogmas and way of behaving. And there's many denominations which people have come from, you know. But they came out of like a futuristic mindset where it's kind of, you know, the end times is now and the mark of the beast is around the corner and we need to look for the signs of the times. And they were very much in that Darbyist, dispensationalist, Zionist mindset, you know, of futurism. And I think they brought with them that attitude and that comes with that kind of community and brought it to the Little Season stuff. And they just switched sides, but brought the same religious dogma with it. And unfortunately, a lot of these churches do have their own odd little way of viewing things, which a lot of them disagree with each other on. And they bring that with them to the Little Season stuff and try and like rig it in there and jam it in with it, you know, and that's where you get these discrepancies where they're like, I don't really know why you're talking about that right now, you know, but what's that got to do with the Little Season? It's because I think they brought it with them from their prior denominational belief systems. And me, I don't have a denomination and I don't have any prior belief systems or dogmas because I wasn't raised in a church, and I think that's why people liked listening to me talk about it, because I was just reading the text for what it said and not really trying to make too many assumptions about it or fit it into something I already believed prior. But again, can you blame these people for being like that? Probably not. So go easy on them. They're not. I don't think they're purposely trying to deceive people necessarily. I'm flattered you enjoyed and your family enjoyed me listening to it. Keep listening. You know, I do talk about it. And thank you for being so kind with your words.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. You did well, Claire. Give yourself a tap on the back. Everyone give a round of applause for Claire in the chat. Hit 1 to say congratulations to Claire if she did a good job. But thanks for that, Claire. You go now. Take a breath. You did a good job.
All right.
Okay. God bless. Bye now.
Bye.
That was good. She did well, didn't she? 15 years old. You know, that is shocking. If you look at the demographics for my channel, nobody under the age of 19 is watching my channel, according to YouTube anyway. They're all on TikTok, that's why they're not actually on YouTube. All the young people are not on YouTube anymore. It's just all the unks and boomers, isn't it, like myself, that are on YouTube now. But if you look at my demographics, there's nobody below the age of like 19 watching my videos. 0.1%. She must be the 0.1%. So there we go. And everyone's hitting 1 in the chat for Claire there. Yep. I know it's nerve-wracking. Well done. Well done. So let's get the next guest. Who else have we got? We've got Gus. All right, Gus. I'm going to start a new Zoom call. I'm going to send you the link. And when you're ready, click it. It'll bring you straight in. You shouldn't have to sign up for anything or do anything in particular. Just make sure you got a phone or a laptop with a microphone, and we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to send you the link now. Copy. I'm sending that across, and you talk to me about whatever it is you want to talk about disclosure. Okay, so there you go. I'm sending that across. But remember, we've got to keep this about 10 minutes. Okay, we can't go on all night. We've got to keep this under 2 hours, this show, because I also have to sleep. So let's try and get this done. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Right, so I've sent the link across, and I'll be keeping an eye out to see if you're ready to join at any moment there. But yeah, guys, how are we doing in the chat? Let's see what we're saying while we're waiting here. Euthanasia has gone insane, says Yukon Dan. It's sad. It's a really horrible state of affairs. They're trying to introduce it in the UK now. It's happening. It's spreading. And this is, the honest truth is, they've looked at the statistics. I've been looking at videos about this, and they're looking at the people who are actually doing this. And a lot of the people who are killing themselves, yes, there are the people who have like terminal end stage, painful cancer and just don't want to go on anymore and want to go out on their own terms rather than suffer and die slowly and painfully and be a burden. I'd say like maybe 1% to 3% of the people doing it are those cases. The examples they were using to get this kind of thing through. That does happen. Okay, and that is happening. And there's a grey area there, kind of, I guess, if you want to make the argument of to justify why this might be considered humane to some level. So give the devil his due where it is, okay. But they're not the rule. When people have looked into it, the majority, I think, of the people who get involved and do this are mainly white people, okay? And they're mainly doing it because they're depressed and they're actually quite young, okay? So it's not because of terminal illness stuff. People who are just a little bit sad are being justified in killing themselves as well. It's getting really weird, all right? Really odd. And go look at it yourself. I know I may have, like, made some stuff up there or exaggerated a thing or two, but it really is kind of like that what's going on. And also, I've heard they're just suggesting it as a medical treatment to people who are struggling with stuff. I heard one guy came in with some kind of mental illness, like depression, and I think they genuinely said, have you considered killing yourself? I think it sounds like a Monty Python sketch, but I think that did happen. I think I remember seeing articles about that. Confirm or deny in the chat if what I'm saying there is true, but I'm getting like a memory here. And that's mad. That's absolutely insane. And that's a really sad state of affairs. And that's what happens when God is removed from a civilization and nihilism rules supreme. Like, it's really terrifying. I tried to join, says Gus. Okay, you're there. Let me admit you. And it might take a second, but you will be joining in a minute if you were there. Sorry for the delay. And it says you're joining, Gus. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Yeah, there you go. I'm not sharing the screen. You're not on video or anything. It's just me talking, but they can hear your voice, Gus. What would you like to talk about?
As I said in my email, I'm a veteran of Afghanistan. We call it GWAT, Global War on Terror.
Ah, okay. That makes sense now.
Thanks to George Bush's name.
Okay.
While I was there, I joined when I was 17. I was in Afghanistan when I was 21. It was clearly not what I was told. And coming back, I got into a lot of conspiracies and all this other kind of stuff. And then went directly into that, into nihilism. Lost my faith in God. And I've kind of, within the last 3 years, paranormal activity, seeing an orb was kind of like there's clearly something else going on, and I don't really buy the alien narrative. And the weirdest thing is, because I went down a deep dive, especially since I gave my life back to Christ, because this stuff no longer scares me. It no longer makes me feel nihilistic. It's honestly kind of comforting to hear other people also notice the same things but have hope. That's why I enjoy your channel a lot, Paul. But the recent disclosure is this documentary that released on May 1st. Very interesting day to, and then the podcast where the director of that documentary came out. And it's about 3.5 hours. And in the entire time, he kept on mentioning that it seemed to be the goal to implant, they're using a medium. This person got in a copper cage with like copper handcuffs on. They're using a psychic. They're drawing pentagrams. They're going to different areas. They're drawing like all these circles in the ground and practicing clearly occultic stuff to communicate with the nine. And he also goes to Egypt a lot. But then they're like, oh yeah, this is technology. And it's like, well, if it was aliens, they could just be like, turn to FM 890 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no need for the psychics and all this other kind of stuff. And I guess with all this disclosure coming out, it's strange to me how I wouldn't say not caring is the answer of the general public, but even when this stuff comes out, other than our little communities, which some are secular, totally into the UFO thing. Some of us that are Christians are like, well, this is clearly demonic activity, and these secret societies have always been Satan worshipers. But I'm just wondering about this kind of where people don't care. I feel like at this point they could project things. Like they could have a full, Project Bluebeam come about. And even with people seeing things in the sky and stuff, they would still shrug.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder about that apathy. I wondered what your take was on that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think it's the same, and I think it's probably a part of the plan, to be honest. I think nihilism and apathy is the goal. I mean, I ranted about this at the start of the podcast about how under it everyone is right now and distracted everyone is with their own problems because, well, it's getting hard out there. It's getting really difficult right now to feed yourself, and people are truly wrapped up in their own problems to have time to worry about aliens. Who's got time for that? I've got to get to work still. Like, say if the mothership suddenly just appeared over New York now or over the North Pole or whatever it is, people would still get up and go to work that day. They would still get in their cars, drive through the traffic in the morning, and they would turn up at their desk and follow it on their phones while getting those expense reports finished, right? People would still just go by and do the norms because I think people have been already pre-programmed for well over like 100 years since Orson Welles' War of the Worlds announcement over the radio, where he read his book and didn't tell people it was fake and acted as though there's really aliens invading, and he was doing an announcement over the radio. People shot down their own grain towers in fear then, because they thought, but now it's been long enough that everyone's over it. In fact, everyone can't wait for the aliens to turn up because at least something interesting is going to happen when that happens. At least, hey, I might even get to clock out early, It's that kind of thing. Like, I think people are so apathetic and bored with the mundane 9-to-5 day-to-day daily grind of just trying to survive that if aliens did turn up, they would be thankful for the respite or just for something interesting to be happening for once that's outside of the norm. And that's how far the propaganda's taken us. I mean, there's also plenty of propaganda involved with the alien agenda that, well, this will be the next step in human evolution once the aliens turn up. Maybe now we'll figure out how to live forever because they're going to share some cool technology with us. People are kind of primed and ready and waiting and not at all surprised when aliens do turn up, I think. I think it's more like a finally, what took you so long, I think it's going to, I feel like that will be the reaction from the general population. It's going to be one of boredom and apathy, which is exactly what you would want for something like that. Like, you don't want people overreacting and just losing their minds. You want to be able to control people, and I think this passiveness is actually very clever. When you really think about it, it's a clever way of doing it, because it's kind of like, okay, finally you're here, so what have you got for us then? You know, because we can't keep going on like this. You know, we need help. And can you help us or can you not? And I'm sure they'll have some solutions for us. I'm sure they'll have some wonderful ways of helping us on tap. You know, just ready to go. You know, here, take this technology and, you know, cure cancer, and perhaps a wonderful golden age will be around the corner. Who knows? But that's the point, isn't it? That's the plan. It's to get people into that mindset that, well, we can make heaven on earth without God. That's the Satan building his own kingdom. That's the counterfeit 1,000-year reign, isn't it? That's his version of events. But we know as Christians, well, that'll be very short-lived. That's not going to last very long, you know. And it'll be a case of an army will be gathered. All the world will come together as one, because the aliens have destroyed countries and borders and all that kind of stuff. All our differences have suddenly dropped to the wayside, and it'll be kind of, oh no, bad aliens have just turned up. These are members of the Zeta Reticuli Zoid something empire who are known for taking over planets and enslaving populations. But we're from the Galactic Federation of the Good Aliens, and we're here to help you prepare yourselves for their arrival so you can defend yourselves. You just have to take this genetic manipulation, and you just have to terraform this region of the Earth, and you've just got to build this tower to heaven, and you've just got to do all these things. You know what I mean? And we'll give you the technology, and you'll be ready to take your place as a member of our federation and travel the stars, but you need to get ready for this war that's coming or something. And then everybody's gathered together, and then boom, a huge mothership or something rocks up in the North Pole, and the whole world just goes at it, you know. Well, that's actually the Bible. That's Revelation 20, chapter 7, I think it is, or 8 or 9. I'm forgetting now. It's been so long, but we'll make
also
war.
In Second Ezra's.
Exactly, we'll make war with the camp of saints, you know, and Satan's done it then. He's made an army, and they're all going to go and fight Jesus, basically, or the saints, or whatever the hell it is. Who knows, you know? But they'll be framed as aliens. Like, we might not even see anything. It just, the TV will pretend something's happening with AI or something like that, you know? It's actually surprisingly easy to fool people now with the advancements in that kind of technology. But it'll be more like a really crappily written Hollywood script that's playing out. You know what I mean? Like every movie you've ever seen about aliens really, really happening in real life. Because they are the same script writers who are orchestrating this whole event. And the programming has told people how to react. And I think everyone's had so much of it now. It's kind of like, can't they just turn up already, please? You know, just something happen. And when it does happen, it's like, oh, cool, finally. I just got to go clock into work real quick. Don't do anything till I'm back. You know? Like, people still carry on because they need to eat, they need food, they need to live, and life has to go on. It's like District 9. Do you remember District 9, that alien film? I think Johannesburg is where an alien ship suddenly just appeared in South Africa. And people, first of all, are like shocked. Then it just kind of sits there for a while and then was like, what's going on? You know, everyone calms down pretty quick. And then they start like jabbing it and probing at it, and then they break into the ship and the aliens are like dying, you know, and starving and stuff. And then before you know it, there's a slum just below the spaceship where the aliens have come down and they're stuck here because the ship doesn't work anymore. It'll be something like passively weird like that. Just like counter-climactic, not quite what we were expecting, just get back to normal life, everyone get back to work sort of stuff. That's probably how it really will go down. And I'm not surprised people are behaving the way you consider. And no one cares because they've been programmed heavily to not care. You know?
I mean, in my own experience, just with the GWAT thing, which now everybody kind of understands that Afghanistan and Iraq, I mean, even here in America, even your most conservative people voted for Trump on his, I'll never do this again. But at the time when I came back and I was talking about some of the weird stuff, and I wasn't intelligence or anything, I was just an infantryman who was a gunner, and you know, did about a year there, a little less. So like it's not like I know the deep dark secrets, but there's weird stuff. And when you talked about it, people just kind of turn me off. Well, no, we're doing the right thing. We fight them over there so that we don't have to fight them over here. And I'm like, no, like these people are like, I weep for them. Like they're this innocent group of people that's kind of caught in the middle of these powers beyond their control. And we were literally stopping them and like using a biometric like camera where we would take scan their eyeball, do their fingerprints, put in their information. It was called the Hide system, capitals. I don't know what that stands for because it's been a while. But that information, the Taliban ended up getting a hold of. And when Trump had first got in office, he had the Taliban and met them at Camp Victory and kind of arranged the whole we're pulling out thing, which I don't disagree with, but it was kind of how it was done. There's a few Afghans I know that interpreted for us that we managed to extract, me and some other veterans, and but there were some really good people that died, and nobody cared. So I think kind of in that same vein, where suddenly I was preaching from the mountaintops about how awful this was, and then a few years later, I'm having people tell me about how I was fooled. And I'm like, yeah. So I guess it's kind of in that same vein. I'm sorry I'm so disconnected. I am weirdly nervous. So
All right. No, you're doing well. You're doing really well. Keep going.
So when I was over there, the strange thing I saw is, first of all, it's unfathomably dark in Afghanistan. There's no light pollution, and it's kind of a moonless night. I was on a small outpost further out towards like Paktia province. It's between a village, near a village called Jaji, Jaji. And as I was out there, I saw something over me. It was like lit and it didn't illuminate anything. And the weirdest part about it was that it saw me, like it was looking at me. And as soon as I noticed it, it's just like gone. And it moves in a way that like, it wasn't a drone. It wasn't anything else. It was just gone. And I kind of had a feeling it traveled somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. And I just kind of let that go and forget about it. And then another guy I was there with told me about seeing the same thing. And then until a few years ago, me and my sister, there was a Starlink launch, and we're kind of looking at those rockets go up. And then we just feel watched. And we both kind of look in the same direction. We have like these binoculars that are night vision. And directly above us is an orb hanging in the sky. That was such a strange, because again, it's hard to describe, but they almost have a shape within them. It kind of looks like almost like hexagonal in a way. But you can't really see it, but it's because of how much stuff is twisting around. And every time we'd focus on it, it would just turn off the night vision. It just turn off by itself. And I ended up talking to a friend of mine that's a believer and giving my heart to God, because I was like, this is not craft. This was something that was both. And I don't, again, it's because of that Project Paperclip, where the Roswell thing, where it just turned out to be a Nazi Delta Wing fighter. And Nazis were involved in the starting of NASA. as well as certain other members who had satanic, you know, ties.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name, but the guy whose house blew up and the police ended up finding occultist material in his house, and then that unraveled the whole story. You might know.
It's on the tip of my tongue as well now.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. I'm sorry. Someone in the chat, let me know. Like, say the name.
Yeah.
You've got me. Yeah, you've got me there. It sounds like you saw something absolutely earth-shatteringly, mind-bendingly, perspective shifting out there in the middle of the desert at nighttime in pitch black, which is terrifying for anyone to behold. And I'm not surprised you're so passionate about this, to be honest, after an experience like that. And I've seen some things too, some odd plasma-like phenomena in the sky involving fiery orbs, which makes zero sense whatsoever. And when you first see that kind of stuff and you've not really got like a solid foundation in Christ and everything, it's terrifying, because it's like everything I know about reality is being proven wrong right in front of me right now, and I don't know how to contextualize it. So your nervous system has a breakdown, you know, and you stay still, don't you? You're in fear. It's like fear takes over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen next type of stuff, you know, like I am now an ant in the presence of a giant type of stuff. You know, it's kind of a you don't know what you're supposed to do with something like, and I get that feeling you must have felt. I really do. And you know, with my faith in Jesus now, I'm looking up and seeing these things swimming around all over the place at night time. I'm just like rebuking them more than often or not. Do you know what I mean? In my own mind, saying, "Get out of here! You have no authority," type of stuff. Because they haven't done anything yet, and I don't think they're going to do anything anytime soon either. You know, because I don't think they're permitted to really interact, but they're certainly around doing stuff, whatever they are, and they're not of this world. So I don't know if they're angels, fallen angels, the demons somehow managing to manifest into the physical realm through weird light phenomena or something, or if it's literally just electromagnetic discharge from the way the universe is structured, and we're just seeing light phenomena. But whatever happens, they're definitely going to utilize all of this in that final show where the aliens turn up. There might be real craft, real nuts and bolts, weird anti-gravity metal crafts. The Vimanas of India come back or something like that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. But I think they are built in labs here on Earth by people. But they'll mix it. Yeah, they'll mix it with the interdimensional trippy stuff we're talking about and make it all work in tandem to put on a big show of something psychedelically different is happening involving aliens from another place or another dimension or something like this, you know, and I think it'll all work hand in hand. But what an odd story. Thanks for sharing that. That's I felt for you when you were describing the orb above your head. I felt that, like, I know that feeling. Yeah.
I don't mean to, you know, I really can't describe anything that happened in my life other than as it happened.
Yeah.
But I ended up finding a lot of comfort into reading Enoch and the Apocrypha as well. And when I came across your little season stuff, I completely understood something that I don't want to talk about certain groups, but the Church of America, I'm sure those of you in the UK have noticed, isn't a very charismatic church, but it's also a very, very pro State of Israel church.
Yeah.
And the dispensationalist doctrine is like, to speak against that is to basically put yourself at odds with everybody. And it's really strange because I've been in churches where they had the flags up there, the American flag on one side and the Israel flag on the other. And, you know, it's really strange. Not because of the little season thing so much as when you look at their doctrine and how there's like 4, maybe 5 judgments. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. especially when you read Second Ezra's, and the angel talking to Ezra starts out Second Ezra by whenever he sees Jesus Christ walking around crowning saints, and he says, "How is this possible? This hasn't happened yet. There's been no judgment yet." And he says, "It's like unto a circle where the first cannot hurry and the last cannot tarry." And then shows him basically describing infinite. And then a philosophical question where he shows him a cloud coming and it raining, and then he sees the water pooling on the ground and pouring off the mountains, and it goes on for some time, and that was the answer to him wondering, when does this happen? And it's basically like, you're seeing a series of visions. You can't possibly put any chronology. Sorry, but you can't chronologize it,
Yeah.
because unless you're told. And sorry, I'm just dry mouth, but it's basically that philosophy of the past will always seem longer than the future. Even if you were looking for 2,000 years, how could you possibly conceptualize that, because the past seems so long and it goes back through your ancestors. I really disconnected there, but I appreciate your time.
It's okay. No, I understand that topic is fascinating, and I get what it does. I understand your thought processes there. I understand. Yeah, I think that topic contextualizes everything. And I think when it comes to the UFO stuff, it really comes into its full swing there, as explaining why they're pushing it so hard now. Someone in the chat did say it was Jack Parsons we were talking about.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I talked about him on my other channel, the Understanding Creativity channel. We got into Jack Parsons quite heavily, and the Manhattan Project as well, and the nuclear weapon kind of experiments that were supposedly going on, and the explosions and stuff involving him. He was a freaky dude. Like, Jack Parsons was weird, man. He was doing like incantations to Lucifer while doing his experiments with like rocket science and all these type of things. It was really really odd, and people just don't realize that these are like your government agencies. Like, these are like paid by your government to do this type of stuff, and it's not aliens if they're doing incantations to demons. I'll tell you that right now. That's how you know it's not aliens from space. Our governments and our institutions are working heavily with spirits. Like, they are. That's what the secret societies are for. That's what they do. That's their job, to maintain that knowledge and to utilize it for the purposes that they need to. We, the unwashed, profane masses, are just supposed to be ignorant to all that kind of stuff, and we just pay our taxes and shut up and carry on, you know? Right. But yeah, these people believe fully, and they've convinced you to believe in aliens, because they're gonna reveal them at some point, and you have to call them something, and you don't have a context to explain them away through the religious stuff. So you're going to say aliens, and they're going to have a big narrative attached to them that they've written themselves, and it's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, there was that on May 1st as well. They also had a podcast that it's one of those that frames things in kind of left right. You talked about that last week on your live. I use your live to decompress after church on my time zone, but they talked about, our timeline has been wrong this whole time. There was a pre-Ice Age civilization, and it seems interesting that they won't say pre-flood.
Yeah.
They won't point people at the Bible, even as, in Hillary Clinton's, weird dog and pony show that happened before the American Congress not too long ago. She said, when they asked if there was anything she wished to talk about, she said, "I feel like a lot of people need to know about the Epic of Gilgamesh and what we know about that." And it's like, it's strange that you would point at that
Mm-hmm.
because the Epic of Gilgamesh preserves the lie that came directly from the serpent. I mean, you were made to be slaves. The one who created you is lying to you. And I believe that that ties into this whole alien lie as well. It'll be a repetition of that lie.
Mm-hmm. And the search for immortality while you're at it as well.
Right.
Yeah, they're telling us. They're blatantly telling us without telling us what they're truly up to. Like I said, what the hell has Gilgamesh got to do with an American military operation in the Middle East? You know what I mean, it's, when you really get down to it, it makes zero sense until you realize these are religious people you're dealing with, and they have religious beliefs,
Right.
and they're serious about them. But we are trained to be a-religious secularists who don't believe in that kind of stuff. So we have like this disconnect that we don't understand. And we just leave it. Most people apathetically ignore it and move on. Like I said, we've been given aliens. That's what we've been given, you know, and that's what we've been trained to think when everything goes down. But they know, they do, they definitely know. But I am going to have to leave that there. You've done really well. We're at the 2 hour mark now, so it's the end of the podcast. So I'm going to have to let you go. But thanks for calling in. That was a fascinating conversation.
Thank you for the conversation. Appreciate you.
No problem, Gus. God bless. There we go. I'll just end that quickly. Yeah, that was good, guys, but we have reached the 2 hour mark. Wow, hasn't the time flown? It always does when you're having fun, doesn't it? So yes, guys, I'm gonna have to call it quits. I'll just do some last minute shilling for myself while I'm here. If you want to support me and you like what I do and you find value in what I do here, please consider becoming a member of Patreon. There's lots of extra content on there for you that you will not find on YouTube. A regular weekly upload of something goes on there that you're not going to see. If it's not early access to podcasts that have not yet been released, then it's usually an episode of something that I can't say on YouTube. I'll put it on there instead, and I've recorded it. It's usually live as well. It's a live show when it does happen, so don't miss out. Go and check it out. It's usually on a Friday. Please become a patron. That is the best way to support me. Or you could just send some money to PayPal if you really want to. Or you can buy yourself a book if you want to make sure you're getting something else in return. Go to Amazon, please, and buy the book from that platform. That's where I am. That's where I'm based. You can get Kindle, paperback. You can get hardcover. You can even get audio. Whatever version you want to get, it supports me. And you get something back in return as well. So please consider helping me, supporting me in some way. I'm not ashamed to say that I need money because YouTube is slowly taking it all away as they focus more on short form content rather than long form content. And I'm not going to start suddenly making shorts like as a regular thing. I just don't enjoy doing that. I like having these long conversations with you guys here and ranting for 2 hours straight on a Sunday or Wednesday evening. So please come and keep joining me. I'll see you. What day are we on now? Are we on Sunday? Are we on Sunday? Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday for a live Q&A and next Sunday as well for the Truth and Therapy sessions. But I do have a special podcast visit on a Friday with a very big podcast. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. And obviously, I'll talk about that with you guys after the podcast is over. Maybe I'll talk about it on Patreon because it'll be on a Friday, or maybe I'll talk about it on the Sunday live show. But lots of fun stuff, lots of exciting things coming up as well. But I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.